Thank you for joining us today. My name's Carolyn Lee. I am one of the directors of the Energy Experts. We specialise in helping clients electrify everything, including solar, batteries, EV chargers, heat pumps, solar hot water and pool heat pumps. And we're based right here in Kiama. I would like to acknowledge that we are on ancient Wodi land and also acknowledge that everyone in the room for making the effort to come out today. If you haven't already, can I please ask you to switch off your mobile phone or put it on silent? And just remind you, if you do need the bathroom during this presentation, literally down the foyer and chuck a left and you will find the toilets there. This is a joint initiative of 3 local companies, us, the Energy Experts based in Kiama, SunPeople based in Barrack Heights and Easther Electrical based in Oak Flats. We all specialise in high performance equipment, we all take a very tailored approach and we all have a very high care factor for our clients. And we take care of everything, so we'll take care of your grid application, your rebate applications, setting up the app for you on your phone, and we help you through the whole process and long after your battery has been installed. Today, we would like to gently invite you to explore the many benefits of installing a high-quality battery storage system. This is an information session. It's not a hard sell, but we will have some very compelling offers at the end of today's talk. Can I get a quick hands up? Who likes the idea of being more energy self-sufficient? Who would not in this climate? Can anyone guess how much electricity prices have gone up by in New South Wales in the last 10 years? Throw a number at me. Anyone? No, it's not that much. It's a lot though, 39% in 10 years. So when I got into the industry, electricity prices 15 years ago were about 18 or 19 cents a kilowatt hour. And for some clients, we're seeing up to 50, 55 cents a kilowatt hour. It's quite considerable. So today we have representatives from Amber, a VPP provider, Solaredge, an inverter and battery manufacturer, and Tesla. Who doesn't know Tesla? What's VPP? VPP is a virtual power plant. I'm going to get to that in a sec. I'll explain it in a bit more detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to shine a light on what's important when it comes to buying a battery storage system. Thanks, Linnell. Oh, have we? Okay. Well, welcome. Come on in, everybody. It's nice to have you here. We want to make sure that you're choosing an efficient, reliable and safe battery storage system. We will talk about the federal government battery rebate, which I'm sure you've heard of, which is a 30% contribution towards the cost of a battery, which makes battery storage an absolute no-brainer. We will run through what's involved in joining a virtual power plant, or VPP. Basically, it is a network of people like you and me. We have solar, we have a battery, and we allow our batteries to be discharged when the grid is under stress. We make money when we do that. We stabilise the grid when we do that because the big power companies don't need to turn the lights off. They don't need to enforce blackouts for people. So it stabilises the grid, it brings down power prices for everyone, and it makes you money if you have a battery. We'll go into it in a bit more detail shortly. And of course, we're going to provide the details of our battery bulk buy arrangement as well. When we ran these presentations years ago, pre-COVID, feels like another lifetime, we used to ask people who already had solar on their roof, and now I don't bother asking because 95% of people in the room already do. It's really more about battery storage now. Solar's fantastic, as you all know, because you get to use your free energy at the time of generation, but of course the issue is, right now there's no one in my house, it's a reasonable solar day, I'm sending my power to the grid, I'm getting paid bugger all for it, as are you, and now I, like you, am being slogged with a fee or a tax for not using it at the time and sending it back to the grid at a time they don't need it. It's problematic. So battery storage is the missing piece of the puzzle. I will go through the battery rebates that are available to make it more enticing to get a battery. I think that's definitely worth going through. There's the big chunky monkey one, and then there's the cherry on top one, as I like to call it. So the first one is the federal government rebate. It depends on the size battery that you get, but you're allowed to get the rebate on anywhere from 5 to 50 kilowatt hours of storage, and you will get a rebate worth anywhere from $1,560 to $15,600. It's considerable. The New South Wales government rebate is the cherry on top. So this is if you join a virtual power plant. It can be any VPP that you like. Your battery, I'll go through the details of that shortly, but you can get up to $1,500 on the battery. Just be mindful of one thing. If you do decide that you want to get a bigger battery, which a lot of people are doing because stacking that little bit more actually isn't that much more expensive. If you go up to 28 kilowatt hours, fabulous, you'll get $1,500. As soon as you step over 28 kilowatt hours, you get nothing. How smart of the government is that? So let's go through the first rebate together, which is the federal government rebate, which is the bigger one. This is what you need to do in order to become eligible to be able to make a claim to get this subsidy. You obviously need to choose CEC, which is Clean Energy Council approved batteries. The system has to be between 5 and 50 kilowatt hours to get the rebate. But if you want to go bigger than that, you can, but you'll only get the rebate on the first 50. Does that make sense? Yeah. Must be installed by an accredited installer. You have to have solar installed, and it has to be a VPP ready battery. That'll make sense, yes? You can add to an existing battery system. So a couple of people came in today and they said, oh, I've already got a battery, but it's only a small one. I'd like to add to that. You are able to get this rebate on your new batteries, but not on the old one. It's not means tested, which is good if we've got anyone in the room who is on a pension. One thing I would like to mention is that you can only get the battery or VPP rebate once. So I'd really encourage you to choose wisely when it comes to both quality and size. If you're thinking about getting one battery now and then perhaps another battery down the track, it may make more financial sense to get the bigger battery storage capacity now because you won't get the rebate on any subsequent battery purchases. A lot of people are stuck on system size. So I had, where's Matt Dalton? Where are you, Matt? There you are. Hello, Matt. Matt just installed a 14 kilowatt hour battery. Is it 14? 11, pardon me. 11 kilowatt hour battery. He's saying that he wishes he had slightly more, just for winter. The rest of the year he's going to be fabulous. But in winter, with winter heating, he'd like that little bit more to get him through till when his panels kick in again. So Matt, we can help you. We can add on more if we need to. What we try to do with clients is go through things step by step to make sure that we get it right. We want to look at the size and the age of your existing system. So for example, if you've only got a 3 kilowatt system installed, it's probably not enough to have a meaningful impact and to fill a battery consistently. So you would be better off having a larger system if you want to have a decent amount of storage capacity. That makes sense, yes? We do review your electricity bills because we want to see if a supplementary system is needed, as well as adding batteries. We'll talk to you about when you tend to use your power the most. So some people are working families and they're hardly home at all during the day. They would get a bigger battery. And then there are other people, like I suspect quite a few of you, who are retired, who can use quite a bit of power during the day. You may not need quite as large a battery. And then we'll look at how your usage might change in the future. So in my case, we were very low energy users in our home, and then we got an EV. And then we got another EV. Our home is fully electric, and that's totally changed our energy usage profile because we can charge our cars from home a lot of the time during the day. So we will talk to you about EVs, pools, air conditioners, and possibly people moving in or out of home. And then ask you if you plan to join a VPP or not. If you decide no VPP, what that means for you is that you'll probably just get a battery that is large enough to cover your day and night usage, but not have a lot of surplus stored energy to give to the grid. So it's just enough to get you by. So for example, if you buy 11 kilowatt hours a day from the grid and you export 13 kilowatt hours a day from the grid, you might just get a 14 kilowatt hour battery, and that's fine. But if you decide to join a VPP, you want to make sure you have enough solar and battery storage for yourself day and night, but you also want to make sure you have enough to be able to sell some surplus back to the grid. We'll get to VPPs in a sec, but before we do, I want to run through the top 10 reasons that people are installing batteries, and I'm sure you can relate to some of these. If you want to become less reliant on the grid and use your own renewable energy source, you can power your home 24/7 from solar and batteries. The battery rebate of 30% is a no-brainer, and then the VPP rebate, as I said, is the cherry on top. Power prices have gone up again as of the 1st of July, and that corresponds beautifully with solar feed-in tariffs going down. And then add to that is the new sun tax, which I mentioned before, where we are now getting charged for sending surplus energy back into the grid right in the middle of the day. We can make money from having our batteries connected to the grid and allowing a virtual power plant to manage our batteries for us. You can protect yourself from rising electricity costs. You can have blackout protection if that is important to you. The grid will basically become your backup instead of your primary source of energy. And then my favourite is this: stick it to the grid. I mentioned before that prices have gone up 39% in the last 10 years in New South Wales alone, and it looks like they are set to continue to rise. So it's time to take back control. On that note, let's talk VPPs, because I think there's quite a lot of interest in the room around this. There's a bit of uncertainty, so that's why we have Carlos with us today from Amber, which is one of a number of VPP providers. Try saying that late at night with a mouthful of marbles. Carlos has come down from Sydney to talk to us. Carlos, yes, that was your name. Come on up. Not all VPPs are equal. You can make way more money from your batteries with some VPPs than others. On that note, there it is.
Ah, there we go. Ta-da. Awesome. Thanks, Caro. Thanks for having us, and good to see so many faces in the room. My name's Carlos. I'm the business development manager for Easther Electrical. I guess today just wanted to step you through a little bit about what we do and how it can benefit you guys. I think I've got about 8 or 10 minutes, so I'm going to go relatively quickly. I'll be around afterwards if you have questions, etc. So that's no problem. So I'm just going to literally run through a little bit around, I guess, how Amber is different to other energy retailers and other VPPs, what we do, and then I guess essentially kind of how much money you can save with Amber. Caro didn't do a show of hands at the start, but let's just assume that most of you in the room have solar, and so you all know that feed-in tariffs essentially have started somewhere up here and have gradually come into land. In Victoria now, they're basically paying 0.03 cents for a feed-in tariff. So we pretty well know that feed-in tariffs are kind of on the way out for daytime. And energy prices, as Caro said, I was like the incorrect retailer because I said 50%, Caro's 39%. Anyway, so essentially, even if you've got solar, a lot of you would have maybe got close to a $0 bill, and now that's creeping back up. Hence the reason why you're potentially looking at batteries. And so the old retail model really doesn't help you as solar owners anymore, because the feed-in tariff is rubbish, and by all accounts, it's only going to get worse. And it certainly doesn't really serve your battery needs anymore, because that's just really just going to offset what you're using at night time. And yes, time of use rates, etc., helps with the return on investment on the battery, but essentially the retail model is broken, and a lot of you in the room here chose to get solar and are looking at battery because you don't trust your existing retailer. They've been putting their prices up for years, and the model is not great. So essentially what traditional retailers do is essentially do a hedge. So every kilowatt hour, every unit of electricity that they sell to you at a markup, they put a little bit of profit on the top, and at the start of each year, or 1st of July that we've just had, they reassess what the wholesale price is going to be, make sure they're going to make money, and lo and behold, at the end of the year, they usually announce record profits. So it's working for them, but it's not working for us. So what do? We do things slightly differently in that we offer our customers through a membership subscription access to the wholesale price. So essentially every kilowatt hour that you buy from the grid is we pass through at cost. We make no markup, we do no hedging, we don't put a percentage on it. And for customers with batteries, essentially we do in the middle of the day, there's lots of solar, lots of people are exporting solar into the grid, the demand in the grid is usually relatively low. And then come into the afternoon and evening, there's a lot more people getting home from work, turning devices on, maybe charging their EVs, et cetera, et cetera. And so the demand in the grid is higher, which is typically now why when we see time of use tariffs, we see time of use is usually you have that kind of shoulder period in the middle of the day, and then it jumps up from 3 or 4 p.m. And that's reflective of what's happening in the grid. So what do? Essentially, as we say, we buy cheap in the middle of the day. So if you don't have enough solar for your battery, we can force charge your battery to make sure that it's got enough power in it to see you through the evening peak. And then if you've got enough excess power in your battery, essentially how your solar system works in the daytime, your battery can work in the same way that the battery will feed what's happening in the house. And if there's some excess in your battery, we can export that power from the battery into the grid for a very nice feed-in tariff. Think of it like a daytime feed-in tariff and a nighttime feed-in tariff. And the screenshots that you're seeing on the up there is actually real earnings of real people in a single day from their battery. More on that in a minute. And when we talk about feed-in tariffs, at the moment, most people would be getting 5, or I'm getting 12, I'm getting 10. How do you get that? Tell me how you get that. So with Amber, because you have access to wholesale rates, we actually offer feed-in tariffs up to $19 a kilowatt hour. And that's not a typo, that's not something that we're making up, that is $19 a kilowatt hour. And it's real, and we have a lot of customers, and our customer base is growing very quickly because this is almost like the old 60-cent feed-in tariff that we had a long time ago in New South Wales that people jumped on. It's an opportunity to, if you've got the right setup, to really kind of make some inroads into the investment that you've made. So we are the largest VPP in the country, so virtual power plant. We don't really like to call ourselves a virtual power plant. We treat our customers slightly differently to the traditional VPP providers. And I guess for what we do is really give our customers access to wholesale rates. As I said, we have $0 markup on everything that is on your traditional electricity bill. We have a very easy integration platform. We break up with your old retailer. You come on board with us. We would need a few extra details in terms of serial number, etc., of your battery potentially. And then we start to do machine learning and AI automation to understand how big your battery is, how big your solar is, what your usage profile is. And we basically manage your battery for you to make as much money out of it as possible. But whilst we're taking control of your battery, we're also making sure that you've still got that level of control if you know something different to what we know. Maybe you're cooking a roast tonight. Maybe you're going out and you've got more battery capacity available tonight. Maybe you're like, actually, there's a blackout coming through. I don't want anyone to take my battery, force charge my battery, turn off all of the automation, and I'm ready in case a blackout comes through. And this is what that tab looks like. So regardless of whether you've got a Tesla or a Solaredge or whichever battery you have that we're automating, you have this kind of profile in the app. It's very easy, it's very intuitive, and you have the ability to force charge your battery, discharge your battery, hold your battery, or you can even tell the battery to use my battery in the house, etc. The point of the matter is you decide, and most other, if not all other VPPs or virtual power plants don't give you that level of control. So, what are battery customers? What do they actually want? The aim with most solar and battery owners is to get to that kind of the $0 bill. Quite often we can take customers below the $0 bill. We can get you into credit. So you can see here, this is a customer of ours. When we talk about ROI, when we talk about simplicity with the platform, when we talk about transparency, because in the app you can see live what the actual price of power is that you're going to be buying at that time, and you can make decisions based on what that price is doing right now, what that price is going to do. So you have that level of visibility that you don't with any of the other providers. And so if you're willing to do a little bit of energy shifting based on what the wholesale price is doing, a little bit like if you had kind of controlled load or time of use or off-peak a long time ago, it's like, right, at 10 p.m, it's cheaper. I know I can turn on the dishwasher, the washing machine, we can run things a little bit better. This is essentially the same. You'll see what the prices are. We'll even send you a text message to say, prices are low, the grid is very green, go ahead and run your aircon, run your heater, do what you need to do. But we'll also send you a text message to say, hey, the wholesale market is spiking, there's a price spike coming through. Think about reducing the load in your house, maybe turn off your heater for half an hour or an hour to maximize how much you can actually send from your battery into the grid to make you money. And so here's another example. This was from, I think, mid-May last year. This was a customer in New South Wales in Ausgrid. They had just over a 7 kilowatt system, so not a huge system, a 10 kilowatt hour battery with an EV. And so you can see on the screen there, so the total earnings for the day was $151.26. And that was from about a price spike that went on for about 3.5 hours. And pretty sure the customer, because it's me, so I know who it is, kept that one quiet for a little bit. We had a bit of fun with the kids. We were like, right, let's turn everything off. Hey, you guys like fire. Let's light some candles. Let's really bring what we're using in the house down, and let's watch the dollars roll in. And sure enough, the dollars rolled in. It's not like that every day. Usually in across the last 12 months, we've maybe had just over a dozen or maybe 15 price spikes that happen. So some months a little bit higher, some months a little bit lower. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But more often than not, we see our customers making good money. And I guess this is the money shot, and I'm almost done. So essentially what this table shows, and I guess this is kind of talking through the advantage of having a bigger battery or oversizing your battery compared to what your needs are. The same way that when you bought a solar system, you're like, let's get a slightly bigger system, let's future-proof ourselves, we've got a feed-in tariff, let's put a little bit more money into this and take advantage of what the government is offering and what, if there was a good feed-in tariff. So what this table shows is essentially the savings with a customer with Amber versus with a standard retail offer. So it's a customer, or it's a blend of customers with a 10 kilowatt solar system. You can see the size of the battery, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, with a gross daily consumption of 22 kilowatt hours a day, which is about average. And it's comparing the savings versus a standard retail offer if you're paying on average 30 cents a kilowatt hour and you're getting a 5-cent feed-in tariff. So the upside, if you got a 10 kilowatt hour battery, you'd have the savings from putting in the 10 kilowatt hour battery, but coming onto Amber's platform, you'd be around about $450 ahead. You get a 20 kilowatt hour battery, and you're nearly $1,400 ahead compared to a standard retail offer. And you can see the numbers going up, and that's a yearly savings compared to a standard retail offer. We don't make these numbers up. These are numbers that come from our 12 to now 20,000 customers that have solar, battery, and EVs. The savings are real. Those are kind of numbers. We have an ROI calculator that you can put your own usage profile in and see what the savings are versus what you're paying at the moment, what you'd be paying if you just stayed with your current retailer, and what your bill would look like if you joined Amber's platform. So we don't need extra hardware. We don't need lots of additional things to make Amber happen for you. Basically, if you've got one of these products that you can see up on the screen here, we can natively integrate with it. So that basically means we can just use your internet connection to talk to the battery, and we can send it commands to say charge, discharge, etc. But like I say, you've still got that ability to override that if you want to, and you can turn off all of the automations on that. So that was it from me for today. I wanted to give you, I guess, a bit of an overview of what you could be doing with a virtual power plant. As I say, I'll be around afterwards. I'll be the guy in the amber t-shirt. We might till the end of my presentation, or till the end? We might save till the end. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, so we're a subscription-based model. So we charge $25 a month. That gives you access to the wholesale market. It's basically like a membership fee. It gives you access to the wholesale market. It gives you access to the automation platform, and it gives you access to us automating your batteries and potentially your EVs that you have on site as well. So everything else that you see on a bill, so your metering charges, your service charges, your kilowatt hour charges, all pass through at cost price. We make no money on everything that you see on a bill, apart from that $25 a month subscription. So it's, like I say, it's very fair, it's very transparent, and the model is very much customer focused. It's putting the power, the control, and the earnings back into your pockets. No worries.
Thanks, Carlos.
All good.
Please thank Carlos for his awesome presentation. Well done. Interesting, don't you think? It's a very different way of thinking about energy and about managing energy. Good to know that you can have it all done automatically for you. To be honest, I'm really busy in my life and I don't really have a heap of extra time to be looking at my app. I just let Amber do everything. It does its thing. We've been connected to Amber for the last 9 months. Like I said, it is a different way of thinking about energy. So your solar exports in the middle of the day are worth nothing. I mean, they're worth close to nothing now anyway, 4 cents, 5 cents a kilowatt hour. But they are literally worth nothing. But in the late afternoon, evening, it's gold. If you've got full batteries that you can discharge when the grid is under stress, they call it a grid event, then that's when you will make some money from your batteries. I used to be happy just being bill neutral, which is where you just don't have anything to pay each quarter. Your daily supply charge is covered off. But it was a combination of the sun tax coming in and the federal government rebate. And I thought, stuff it. I'm going to make some money from my batteries. And so far I have. I've been in credit pretty much every month bar. When was a really cold month? Was it June this year? It's bloody freezing. We had our heater on a lot. So we do get sent a little ping on our phone, a little notification to say wholesale prices are cheap or wholesale prices are about to get expensive. If I'm in the middle of making a meal, 6 o'clock at night, and there's a price spike coming, I'm not going to turn off my induction cooktop. I'm going to keep on cooking. But if I'm organised enough, which I generally am, and if I can convince my partner to do the same, we might turn off the heater for a couple of hours. We'll preheat the home or pre-cool the home so it's really comfortable during that period. And then that period's over, things go on as normal, and we've made some money. And, you know, it's not all about the money, but it is a little bit about sticking it to the grid, I must say. So we've chipped away over the last 4 years that we've owned our home on the whole electrification piece, and my partner laughs. She jokes that we've got our own mini power station in our house. We have fully electrified. We have one 10 kilowatt hour battery, and we're about to install 2 more, care of the federal government rebate. And why wouldn't you? Because we're going to get to 30 kilowatt hours, we will not get the VPP rebate. $1,500, it would be nice to have, but I figure connected to Amber, I will make that money back quite quickly. So I have foregone the rebate in order to get the bigger battery storage capacity. And with the right VPP, you will find that the ROI, the return on investment on a battery storage purchase, will drop by about 20%. And so batteries can now pay for themselves in around 4 to 5 years, with the help of the subsidy and with the help of the VPP. Let's talk about the VPP rebate. I'm sure a lot of you are interested in this. It's quite simple. You literally need to have panels on your roof. You need to have between 2 and 28 kilowatt hours of battery storage installed, and you need to join a virtual power plant. That's it. It's simple. If you are anything like me, then I would suggest that you appreciate quality, reliability and efficiency. And if those things are important to you, there is a huge choice of battery brands that are available in Australia. I chose Solaredge for my place for inverter and battery technology. It makes sense to install Solaredge batteries if you already have a Solaredge optimised solar power system installed. If that is not you, you may be interested in this, but it probably won't apply to you. But I would like to introduce Gavin Merchant, who's the Country Manager of Solaredge Australia, to come and join us now. Where are you, Gav? There you are. And he will tell you more about Solaredge battery technology and why a DC coupled battery solution is a really smart way to go. I'll give that to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to be here. Thank you, Caro. Thank you, Carlos, as well. I'm not affiliated with Amber, but I do have Amber, and I can definitely vouch for the numbers. Yeah, it's quite exciting. It's to gamify actually the spikes that come through. Just a personal lesson though, when you're working away from home and you get a trigger notification on your phone saying there's a spike, don't rely on your 11-year-old daughter to relay the message to mum to turn things off, because everything stays on and you miss out on the opportunity of making a bit of money. So we're just going to talk a little bit about Solaredge. Caro mentioned she has Solaredge on her house. Does anyone else have a Solaredge system? Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just sit down then because we're done. Thank you for your support. It's great to see so many people with Solaredge already. Solaredge has been in Australia for 15 years. We have about 150,000 systems installed across the country. So a couple of points on why would you put solar. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit already today, but really it's about saving money and making energy. We want to make a lot of energy and we want to make a positive contribution to the environment. And of course, we want to be independent. So more and more of us want to be independent from the grid. Having a reliable, long warranted solar generation system and battery is critical for that. Not all systems are the same, of course. One thing that makes Solaredge a little bit unique, Solaredge is a designer and a manufacturer of solar inverters and batteries. We also do EV chargers. But the thing that makes us a little bit different from the rest is we have these things called optimizers. Optimizers sit underneath each panel, underneath the panel on the roof, and they unlock extra potential, extra safety, design flexibility. You can put bigger arrays on your roof that might be limited compared to traditional systems. But the big thing is safety. We have a much safer roof, and we can also generate a lot more electricity because of the way that the system inherently works. So Solaredge has just one inverter at the moment on single phase and one inverter on 3-phase. And it's a very, very versatile unit. So this is what it looks like. It's also up on the screen. We have a 10 kilowatt unit. And basically it provides scale of having a very, very small system of as little as 10 panels, but you can also go right up to 50 panels. Why is that important? Because our needs change. Electrification of everything. We're driving EVs now. You might start with a smaller system and then build up to a bigger system over the life of the warranty of the system or even further. So Solaredge has a industry-leading 12-year warranty on the inverters and 25 years on the optimizer. Moving to the battery, one important thing with having a DC coupled solution, as Caro mentioned, was it's under the single ecosystem. So As you build on your system, you start with PV and then you might add a battery later. That battery just incorporates into the app natively. There's nothing you need to do with that. It just looks a little bit different. But of course, then you see your production and your consumption all in the one app. So the batteries are modular. We've heard different capacities of maybe one battery at 10 kilowatt hours, two batteries is about the sweet spot at the moment, up to 30 kilowatt hours. So one inverter can handle 3 batteries, but of course you can go bigger. You can put bigger batteries, bigger inverters, more inverters, and you can increase the capacity in line with that as well. What's an inverter? Good question. An inverter is something that harnesses the energy from the sun and converts it to AC, 240 volts. But it's also the heart of the system. So it manages everything to do with the grid. It integrates with VPPs. If you've got an EV charger, it communicates to the EV charger. So it's a pretty powerful little unit, but essentially it's converting from the sun power, DC, into AC. So the Solaredge battery comes with a 10-year warranty. It's unlimited cycle warranty, which is quite unique and very important for VPPs. If you've got a VPP and it's charging and discharging multiple times, you want a battery that can handle that and is supporting that. We also have a very high safety standard with our batteries, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute. And it's an extremely highly efficient conversion. So every time you convert from DC to AC, you have some losses in the form of heat. Solaredge only has one conversion. We also have time of use and manual control. Similar to the Amber solution, you can tell the system to discharge if you want. If you've got like a storm coming, for example, you can say, I don't want to use my battery at the moment. I want to reserve that capacity in case there's a blackout from a result of a storm. Safety is critical. These are very high energy density products. They're very, very safe batteries, but to have the highest safety standard is also very nice to have. Solaredge has inbuilt hardware and software safety features, and we're actually UL certified, so it's a very high level safety standard, UL 9540. Big thing about Solaredge, and this is our true point of difference compared to all other inverter topologies, is that we have this optimized solution. As I mentioned, it basically allows every panel to work independently from the next. Now, we've recently completed a study with the University of New South Wales. They're just here, obviously. But the Uni of New South Wales is world-renowned for PV development innovation. They actually designed some of the technology which is now globally recognised. So we provided over 3 million Solaredge system data points to them, and they analysed all of the data. And they came up with some pretty interesting analysis. They concluded that every solar system on average can produce up to 15% additional yield, okay? Now, 15% additional yield compared to a traditional system is significant. Why? Because over the life of the system, particularly when you've got high electricity rates, it can produce a lot more electricity. You're increasing your self-consumption. Self-consumption is when you're utilising everything that you generate during the day. You're utilising it either through a battery or just when you're at home, you're turning everything on. So what does this translate to? If you use 90% of the power that you generate during the day, and today's electricity rates, you can save $1,000 in just 1 year. If you're utilising less, obviously you save less. But the numbers are real. So every time you generate more electricity, you're winning. A couple of other ways of how to look at this. 15% more energy. It's $1,000 of revenue, additional revenue to existing systems in the first year. It can also enable 15% smaller array sizes, so your roof doesn't need to be as big. Quicker recovery times. So today is a bit cloudy, sporadic sun coming out. Every time that sun comes out, you want to really be able to suck that energy in, and if you're generating more, then you can capture that. Yes, and I guess the big one is that compared to a traditional system, that you can pay your system off in as little as under 7 years, which is pretty amazing. So just one last slide. Why consider Solaredge? Really, it comes down to more power. Producing more power means you're getting maximum use out of your battery. That's why we're here today, talk about batteries. Enhanced safety. We hold a lot of patents on safety with the optimizers on how we can control the roof. Arc fault detection. We've got temperature monitoring in the panels. We can talk all day about this stuff, but this is something that's quite unique to Solaredge. And then cyber security. It's not really discussed that much in Australia, but cyber is becoming a real controversial topic. There's a lot of players that are, getting access to your personal data is important for some people, and it's important not to have people accessing your data as well. So Solaredge holds very, very high standards in cybersecurity and safety and server control, preventing any sort of malicious access to your systems. Essentially, Solaredge is about making more energy, full ecosystem, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. So I do have Solaredge installed at my house. I've had it for about 4 years, and it is like one big energy ecosystem where everything's designed to talk to each other. I like how there's everything in the one integrated app. There is another brand that we have found uber reliable in the battery space. The CEO may be a little contentious from time to time. I think I know, you know who I'm talking about. However, their products are fail-safe. They're really good quality. We're lucky enough to have, let me see if I can pronounce his name correctly, Stephen Terrajou. How's that, Stephen? Well done. Ah, good. From Tesla with us today. He's going to tell us a bit more about the Powerwall 3 batteries and the new Tesla expansion packs. So Stephen, if you want to make your way to the front of the room, I'm going to hand over to you to talk all things Tesla.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for being here today. So I'm Stephen, the New South Wales account manager for Tesla. And yeah, really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day today to learn about storage. We know that Australia has been leading the way with solar with regards to percentages of households that have it. And now with the Cheaper Home Batteries program, we will continue to lead the way, but also from a storage perspective, which is, of course, extremely important to have a sustainable economy. So at Tesla, as you guys probably know, our mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And we want to thank you guys for being a part of that journey. I'm sure most of you guys here either have solar or have an electric vehicle. You potentially might already have storage as well, or potentially the whole lot, right? Which is what we're here to talk about today. And so if you don't have the whole lot, you might want to be adding those extra bits and pieces today. Now, when designing the Powerwall 3, our engineers had to ask themselves, what can we do to make sure that this is going to now be, a big step change from the Powerwall 2? At Tesla, we don't change products very often, but when we do, we want to ensure that it really is a significant step change. And so when asking ourselves, what do we need? We came to the conclusion that we needed to build a product that would offer more power and performance, would be easy to expand, would be durable so it can be installed in all climates around the world, and of course offers the best value for money for the end users.
Vietnamese or something.
Apologies for that. That may happen throughout the presentation. There's a lot of security and inbuilt in the Tesla presentations and how we share them. So yeah, please ignore this, but that's meant to be best value for the end users. I will speak to the marketing team about this. But essentially, these are the 4 key pillars that we'll be talking about today. Now, before we dive further into the Powerwall 3, I just wanted to take it a step back and talk about the evolution of the Powerwall. So 10 years ago, we launched the Powerwall 1, which was great because it showed us that we were able to harness energy from the sun to power the home loads during the night. However, it was quite complex because we had to use a third-party PV inverter, a third-party battery inverter, and we therefore had all these different boxes on the wall, which first of all made the installation complicated and costly, but also caused a lot of issues with devices communicating between each other. And then if something goes wrong, each manufacturer points to the other and no one wants to take the blame. And that's why we quickly shifted only a year later to Powerwall 2, which is where we integrated that battery inverter, and that allowed for one less box on the wall and allowed to speed up the installation process. And then of course with the Powerwall 3, we've now also integrated that PV inverter, so we have this all-in-one unit. Looking more closely at the Powerwall 3 itself, we can see here that you can couple up to 20 kilowatts of solar directly into the unit, and you can utilize a total of 15 kilowatts of energy at any given moment. So that means you can charge the battery at up to 5 and power your home loads at up to 10. The reason we cap the home loads at 10 is because in Australia, we've got certain regulations that we need to account for. And the reason why we cap the battery charging at 5 is because at Tesla, we want to build products that last the test of time. And we've understood that if you charge a battery too quickly on a daily basis, that will affect its performance in the long term. Now, just because you can DC couple it, which means you're putting new panels and you string them directly into the Powerwall itself, if you already have solar, you can also AC couple it to your existing system. What you can also do is if there's also extra room on the roof, you can then DC couple the new panels into the Powerwall 3 as well, and therefore maximize the system. And so what does all this mean? Well, it means that we can power everything, right? So some larger appliances like washer and dryers, heat pumps, and EV charging can now be run completely off the power of the Powerwall 3. And so more power however you use it, or at least that's what it's supposed to say there. So touching on the Tesla app and what the Powerwall can offer, virtual power plants. So Tesla were pioneers in VPPs and FCAS markets. So we are definitely capable of being coupled with the Amber ecosystem. We've got features like Stormwatch. So if a storm is coming, the Tesla works with the Weather Network API so that the Powerwall will be able to charge from any means necessary ahead of the storm to ensure that you have as much storage to take you through that storm. Not a lot of other battery companies out there offer this. There are some that have it. However, Tesla offers another layer on top of it, is that we have 3 levels of human monitoring before triggering this, because we've noticed that some of the other manufacturers out there, there's been issues where it's a little bit too sensitive, and then you're caught in a scenario where the battery charges from the grid for potentially no reason, which is obviously quite upsetting. So we're very, very careful with this, but also we allow you guys to toggle that on or off if you prefer just not to have that as a feature. Charge on solar. So I'm not sure how many people here own a Tesla vehicle. Can you get a raise of hands? Okay, not as many as Solaredge customers, but that's okay. Essentially what Charge on Solar does is many of you guys would notice you don't need to charge your car to full every day to go to and from work or to the groceries or wherever you guys go. And so if you've got a Powerwall, it will communicate with the Tesla vehicle, and so you only charge off excess solar when needed. For example, you might notice that 40% is the mark where you feel comfortable for your daily needs. So you'll set your charging for your vehicle to 40%. Once that 40% mark is hit, it will only charge off any excess solar. So again, these are the little things that will help build the return on investment. And then I'll try to power through this because I know I'm running tight on time. Retail tariff optimization. So if anyone does not feel comfortable joining a virtual power plant for whatever reason, Tesla has its own inbuilt algorithm where you could essentially enter the cost of electricity at the different times of the day, the different seasons of the year, and the Powerwall will charge and discharge intelligently to give you the best financial outcome. And it also takes into consideration your usage patterns and home loads. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we have launched our expansion packs in Australia, which we're super excited about, especially with the Cheaper Home Batteries program. We do notice that individuals are wanting to go for larger systems. And so what this does is it essentially allows you to expand your system without spending money for the extra PV inverter, which you might not need. So you can see on the left here, this is how, or is what we were able to offer previously, which is 4 complete Powerwall 3 units. They each have their own PV inverters, which means they can each hold up to 20 kilowatts of solar each, which is great. But again, many of you might not need to have all of these different solar arrays on your roof. And so you can now go with option B, which essentially looks exactly the same, but the internal of the expansion packs does not have the inverter, so it helps you save on costs. And you also don't need to run AC cabling back to the gateway. You just attach a harness in between them, which essentially just makes the installation quicker, so you're also saving on installation costs. And then, of course, the most durable product. So the Powerwall 3 is built in an aluminum enclosure, which is hermetically sealed, and it's IP67 rated. As you can see, it's installed here in a fish tank. So it is built to last the test of time in all weather conditions. A few more slides left, so stay with me, I'll power through them. Built for all climates, so whether that's -20 or 50 degrees Celsius, we've got some features that helps the Powerwall operate optimally. So if it is a colder climate, which it does get chilly out here, especially in June, as Caroline mentioned recently, what the Powerwall does is it uses heat mode, which is basically, it takes the last 7 days of data from your system. It knows at what time the sun hits the panels in the morning, and the cells will start to preheat ahead of that time so that by the time that sunshine hits the panels, it's going to be able to absorb that at full capacity. We also are able to install it anywhere, so there's no restrictions on the warranty document with regards to installing it in direct sunlight. Of course, we don't recommend it because if it gets hot, it won't be able to operate as efficiently, but it's just to say that it can be done. So it's going to be able to regulate its temperature because that aluminum enclosure actually acts as a heat sink and helps to dissipate the heat, especially with the fan cooling that's inbuilt inside it as well. Then just a quick video here of our Gigafactory in Nevada, which is where the Powerwalls are built. We're actually at a point now where we can build 1 Powerwall every 25 seconds. Which means that we can build about 700,000 units a year. Now, to put that into perspective, historically, we've built 1 million Powerwalls since Powerwall 1, and that was over a 10-year period. We're now building this per year because we do believe that the value proposition of the Powerwall 3 is going to be what takes it to mass adoption. Building these at speed does not mean we compromise on safety, so we still do testing on the system, cellular, and modular level. And in fact, we're so confident in our product that we back it with a 10-year comprehensive parts and labor warranty. And that guarantees that at that point in time, the 10-year mark, it still holds at least 70% of its charge. And most importantly, that is for unlimited cycles. And so that's the Powerwall 3 in a nutshell. I tried to condense that as much as possible. Backup protection, self-powered, the ability to save on your energy bills, and of course, monitor your energy 24/7. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. Good on you. Just pop a clicker there. How sophisticated a battery's getting. It's well beyond my pay grade. We call ourselves the energy experts, and I know a lot. My business partner knows a hell of a lot, I've got to say. Wes is, he's a bit of a unicorn, and it's fabulous to have as a business partner. But wow, yeah, they're becoming so technical. But the good part of that is that you don't have to lift a finger. That's what I like about it, because it's all done for you. I'm going to pop that down for a sec. There we go. It's all done for you. What I would like to really reiterate in this presentation is there are different tiers of batteries available in Australia, from pretty cheap and pretty ordinary up to the likes of Tesla and Solaredge. Premium batteries mean that they are safer, they're more reliable, they're more efficient. To give you a bit of a rundown on how different battery brands compare with one another and how different VPPs stack up, I would like to introduce Greg from SunPeople. Greg, can you come to the stage and give us your little rundown, all the research that you've been doing on how the different battery brands compare with one another. We've got Greg and Paul here from SunPeople. Please give them a warm welcome.
Paul, you going to kick us off? Nah. I'll pass this over to Paul because he's actually going to kick us off, so he can just call me back when he needs me.
I'm also here to translate if anyone can't understand Greg. So I'm Paul, this is Greg, and outside we have Mark. Mark's one of our owners. What he lacks in ability to talk on the microphone, he more than makes up for his skills as an installer and a manager. We were offered short straws only, and Greg and I both got one. First of all, I'd like to thank Caro. The work she's put Sunday afternoon at 4:30, I was on the lounge having a beer. She was on the phone, prepping to get you guys here today to understand where we all come from. So, Caro, thank you for the work you put in and allowing us to be part of it. I'm not much of a public speaker. It shakes me to the core. So I did a little research on how to be more comfortable. And if I look a little bit flushed, it's because I'm supposed to visualise you all in the nude. So if I focus on you for longer than you think, I apologise. We do have a slide. Have I got a clicker?
There was a clicker. Stephen, did you steal the clicker? Clicker.
Is that it?
That one.
That one?
It's that one to the right.
Okay.
Is that working? Otherwise, that one. See the arrow button there?
Okay, beautiful. So we're all about quality of product and quality of installation. And what does that do for you? It gives you peace of mind. There are hundreds, literally hundreds of brands on the market, and we stay in that upper echelon for a few reasons. First of all, your safety of your family, your home, our reputation, and longevity. So for us to install products of the quality that you see there, it ensures that we're here in 3, 4, 10 years, 20 years to support you, rather than a fly-by-night installer who comes in purely and simply to grab any rebates available. And I think we saw this with the pink bat schemes, and we know what happened there. I just want to say that we have some pricing up here. Now all these installations are unique to you, your property, your needs. So the numbers are indicative, but they're not exact. Tesla Powerwall, and we can go through those points, but I know we're short on time. I do like the cons, the bottom line. The CEO does do some silly things, but the product itself stands way above that. 13.5 kilowatts of usable energy, now expandable easily We have done recently several of the expansion packs, were quoted and sold, and they're in the process. The Tesla being able to expand to 27 keeps you under that 28 kilowatt limit for your VPPs. Excellent. We do another brand, and we've brought one. It's the SIG Energy. It's on the next page. There it is. And we brought an example of that battery with us today. It's integrated. It has the inverter and the batteries. It's expandable. And we can, once the session's finished, we're more than happy to discuss that. Once again, these prices down the right-hand side, they are indicative. Anybody here today that is interested in one of those products, and this is the Energy Experts and us, we are going to offer you a bulk offer of any of those products of around a $500 discount. And obviously, if you have a very simple system where the battery location is close to your meter box, the cabling's a short run, everything's in place, these numbers are very appropriate. If it had to go on the other side of a house, in a garage, we had to trench from a shed, obviously those prices expand, but more than happy to talk to you about that. I'm not going to dwell on below the line, other than to say the reasons we don't go below the line are the complete opposite of all the reasons we go above. We're not comfortable putting a product on your house that we're unsure of. We're not comfortable of giving a product that we've got no history on. If the product, well, look at the pricing there, 20 kilowatts for under $6,000. I don't know where they compromise to get to that. I know that the compromise from ours, we've been approached, and I'm sure that most installers in this area and all down the eastern seaboard have been approached to install these products on their behalf, and the amount of money that they offer the installers to put those systems in is ridiculous. So the only way that those installers can do that and make a living is to rush, cut corners. And I honestly believe that the installation and the cutting of the corners in the manufacturer, well, that's why we don't go there. We are happy to discuss your individual needs, one-on-one, after the meeting, on-site, whatever you'd like. I'm going to end there because we are pressed for time. Pass over to Greg, and Greg's just going to give a little bit of a spiel on our thoughts on VPPs and how the different VPPs compare. I thank you for your time and welcome, Greg. And once again, I am here to translate.
Thanks for that, Paul. I think after the great job that Carlos did, and Karo as well, there's not a hell of a lot to expand on VPPs. I think what the most important thing is, from my perspective, when I'm discussing with any of my customers, is my baseline is probably where a lot of people's baseline was when they're hearing about something new, which is, I was skeptical. I was like, why does it sound like somebody's going to do something for me and I'm going to benefit? What's the catch? So I wasn't always very much pro VPP and just jumped on it and told customers this is the way to go. But what I can tell you, after watching over the last 6 months or so, SunPeople customers on particular VPPs and the success that they've had, that they've converted me. So now I'm happy to speak about the VPPs. But I think there are a few things that I wouldn't say be wary of, but I would say customers should have awareness of. Just like all battery units are not built the same, not all installers will do the same type of work, not all VPPs are the same as well. So I'm not here today to promote any particular VPP. I think Carlos did a great enough job to kind of paint the picture of the landscape, and there's probably some VPPs that are a bit better than others. What I'll bring to your attention today is, of course, like energy retailers that you've heard of, AGL, Origin, they also have their own VPPs. There's some great points to that where Origin, their loop VPP, can guarantee you $1 for solar exports at particular times, which is fantastic. But be aware of the other side of things, which is there's a limitation of how much they'll buy from you in a year. So is it 200 kilowatt hours a year? Is it 250 kilowatt hours a year? The good news with most of these VPPs, there's no lock-in. So I think that's an important thing. One, to know that you can claim a rebate, you can put that towards paying off your system, and if you're not happy for any particular reason, you're free to walk. I think that's a very important distinguishing factor. Some VPPs that are going to be new coming to, maybe you guys have heard of Shine Hub or similar VPPs that are potentially have different requirements. Just be aware of the requirements. For instance, do you have choice of battery? Do you have a choice of selecting what is most appropriate for your needs and most appropriate for your existing solar system and your existing needs that you have? Or are you locked into a particular type of battery? And if you are, and you're unhappy and you want to leave the VPP, potentially what is the clawback? What is the consequences? Is there a lock-in or is there a financial penalty for leaving the VPP? So I think what we will just say is we're not here to promote any particular one. We have seen customers have far greater success on one versus the other. But just to say, be aware that just because you're jumping on a VPP to get the rebate, it's best to kind of choose your VPP based on what you think is best for you. What is important, and I'll add to that as well, is VPP, a lot of customers that I've spoken to can sometimes sound like this foreign concept, like what is a virtual power plant? I don't like to muddy the waters and overcomplicate it. I'm sure most people in this room have changed from AGL to Origin to Red Energy, has had some sort of experience in going through that, shopping around, trying to get a better rate. It's as simple as that to join a VPP. So if you've ever changed your energy retail plan, then you can do the same thing and change into a VPP. And if you have the necessary battery, it can make a hell of a lot of sense. And we've seen it with our customers have changed back payback periods on their batteries from 7 years to sometimes as low as 3.5 years. So just be aware, we can make some of this information to you guys available after the session, but just know that there's choice in the space, but not all VPPs operate under the same requirements and not all have no lock-in. So just be aware of those things. Thank you very much.
You'll be pleased to know with the size of that font that we are going to email this to you after the session. My 52-year-old eyes are not as good as they used to be, so I do empathise. So yes, you will receive all the details on the comparison of batteries, VPPs, etc. If you're looking at those numbers and you're going, oh, well, I really like the idea, but not quite sure if I can afford it, you can get a low-interest green loan. This is really appealing to a lot of people because it means that your battery storage system can largely pay for itself for over between 1 and 10 years. You can reduce your bills by using your own stored energy instead of buying power from the grid at night time, and that will pay for the cost of your battery storage system. And most importantly, at the end of the loan period, you own the system outright. There's nothing left that you're committed to in terms of the green loan provider. And I think the most important point is you can actually afford to buy better quality batteries. You don't have to skimp. A lot of people think, oh, they're expensive. And they are, they're a substantial purchase, but they're so much cheaper than they used to be. A green loan makes it affordable for you to buy whatever quality battery you choose to buy. Let's get stuck into the bulk buy bit, because I'm sure this is of interest to you. We, SunPeople, Easther Electrical and the energy experts have all worked together to decide on some really compelling pricing. If you're an Energy Experts customer, we will contact you after the event. If you're a SunPeople customer, they will contact you after the event. If you're an Easther customer, they will be in contact. We are all offering the same price. We're all offering the same discounts. So this is what it looks like in the small to medium size battery range. And again, we will send this to you after the presentation. I will say that some of these depend on what inverter you have installed. So this is where we can hold your hand through the process. If you already have a hybrid inverter installed, which is a solar and battery inverter, then this pricing applies to you. If you have a solar-only inverter, which most people will have if they've got an older system, then you will most likely upgrade to a hybrid inverter. And we have not included that in the cost of this. This is purely batteries. So as I said, I will send this to everybody after the event. I will also say that if you want to lock in this pricing, this is valid through till the 18th of September. So you've got a couple of weeks. The 19th, I'm on a cruise. So the 18th it is. Something like that. In the larger size batteries, you can see everything that we've allowed for is better quality. So it's either going to be Tesla, Fronius, Solaredge, Sig Energy, SunGrow. They're our 5 go-to brands. That's okay, we can leave that, that's fine. I will talk louder. And you can see that there is a bulk discount applied to each and every battery. All we've done is increase the number of batteries to get to this size. So it might be one Sig Energy battery is 8 kilowatt hours, at another one it gets to 16, 24, 32, etc. And adding the extra little module, you can see there's not a big jump up in cost. It's only about somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. It's not massive, and you get another 8 kilowatt hours of storage. These are all brands that we're extremely comfortable installing. They are all safe, efficient and reliable. And as I said, you can get $500 off the standard pricing. To take advantage of this local battery bulk buy, these are the 2 simple things that we need you to do. Let's go through it together. Grab the form that's on your chair, or if you would prefer to do this electronically, whip out your phone and grab the QR code, because it's exactly the same information on there and we can go through it digitally if you prefer. It will actually save us time if you do that. But whatever you're more comfortable with, either grab your pen or grab your phone and let's go through it together. So can I please ask you to just jot down your name, email address and mobile number at the top of the form. And I'd like you to circle if you already have a solar power system installed. And if so, if you know the size, either the kilowatts, that would be great, or the number of panels, that would be excellent. If you're not sure, just leave it blank and we can talk to you about it, or we can come and take a look for you. Is everyone going all right with that? Then I'm going to get you to jot down your inverter brand if you know what that is. It could be a Fronius or an SMA or a SunGrow or a Solaredge. You can just do it digitally if you prefer. And then I'd like to ask you to circle what you're most interested in. Solar only, more solar with a battery if you've only got a small solar power system, or just batteries. Let us know when you're likely to want to install your system. And let us know if your preference is to pay for your system outright or with a green loan over 1 to 10 years. And then do us a small favour and just let us know how you heard about the event today. If you can just tick the relevant one down the bottom. So complete the quote request, you'll get a $500 discount, and you will also receive a battery storage buying guide that we've created specifically for this event, full of very useful information about battery storage purchasing. I'm assuming that we've pretty much filled out that form. So let's run through why this makes good sense. You can run your home on sunshine 24/7, get a chunky rebate on your batteries and a bonus VPP rebate, protect yourself from future price increases, diminishing solar feed-in tariffs and blackouts, avoid the sun tax altogether. You will make more money with some VPPs than others, spend a bit more, get better quality, safer batteries, and support local, and you'll get higher levels of customer service. I would describe our 3 companies as boutique. We try to be as responsive as possible, but with the amount of interest here today, it may take us a week or 2 to get in contact with you after the event, but you can be rest assured that we will be in contact and we'll provide you with a tailored solution for your home. So I'd like to thank everyone for their time and their attention today. I hope it's been really useful, and we look forward to helping you save. Come and have a chat to us in the foyer if you have any specific questions that you'd like answered, and have a top day. Thank you.